Some watches are built to impress, some are built to survive. And then there are Casio watches, watches that somehow became icons without ever chasing luxury. Today, we're counting down 5 Casio watches that each have a completely different personality. One costs less than a dinner, one looks like a tiny computer on your wrist, and one has become one of the most recognizable modern watches ever made. Stick around until the end, because the final pick might surprise you. And if you want to check the price or specs of any watch in this countdown, you'll find every model linked in the description below. Let's start with one of the most recognizable digital watches ever made, the Casio F-91W. At first glance, there's nothing complicated about it. You get a simple rectangular case, a digital display, a lightweight design, and the classic Casio look that has barely changed over the years. And that's exactly the point. The F-91W doesn't try to look expensive. It doesn't try to look complicated. It simply does what a watch is supposed to do: tell you the time, give you useful everyday functions, and stay out of your way. Its small size and unmistakable retro design also give it something many modern watches have lost: personality. You can wear it with casual clothes, keep it on your desk, or throw it into an everyday routine without thinking twice. If your idea of a great watch is simple, practical, recognizable, and affordable, the F-91W is almost impossible to ignore. That's why it earns the number 5 spot. Moving up to number 4, we have the Casio AE-1500WH. And compared with the F-91W, this thing feels completely different. The first thing you notice is the display. It's huge. The oversized digital layout gives the watch a bold, rugged personality, while the larger case makes it feel much more substantial on the wrist. This is the kind of Casio that looks like it belongs outdoors. Hiking trails, long weekends, road trips, everyday situations where you want something you can glance at quickly without dealing with a complicated interface. The design is functional rather than flashy. Big numbers, strong contrast, and a tough-looking case make the AE-1500WH feel like a tool rather than a fashion accessory. And that's what makes it interesting. If the F-91W is the minimalist Casio, the AE-1500WH is the big, rugged digital companion. For someone who wants maximum readability and a much larger wrist presence, this is a very easy watch to appreciate. At number 3, we're leaving digital watches behind. This is the Casio MDV-106. And suddenly, we're talking about a completely different type of watch. The MDV-106 takes the classic dive watch formula and gives it the unmistakable Casio approach. You get an analog dial, a rotating style dive bezel, large markers, a date display, and a stainless steel case paired with a black strap. Visually, this watch feels much more traditional. It has the proportions and styling that make you think of classic sports watches, rather than a typical digital Casio. And that's one of its biggest strengths. You don't have to be a collector to understand the design. Black dial, bold markers, dive watch bezel, simple hands. Everything is immediately readable. It also works surprisingly well outside the water. Wear it with a t-shirt, jeans, or something a little more dressed up, and the watch still makes sense. If you want your first Casio to look like a traditional sports watch rather than a digital instrument, the MDV-106 is probably the most obvious choice on this list, and that's why it takes the number 3 position. Now we're getting to the really interesting ones. At number 2 is the Casio AE-1200. This watch looks like Casio decided to put an entire dashboard on your wrist. There's the world map display, multiple information areas, digital time, buttons surrounding the case, and enough visual detail to keep you looking at it long after you've already checked the time. And that's what makes the AE-1200 so much fun. It's not minimalist, it's not trying to be elegant, it's unapologetically functional. The world time aesthetic gives it a travel-focused personality, while the chunky case makes it feel like a miniature piece of equipment. You could easily imagine this watch on the wrist of someone moving through airports, exploring a new city, or simply enjoying the retro tech aesthetic. There are watches that tell time. Then there are watches that make checking the time interesting. The AE-1200 is definitely in the second category. And if you're looking for a Casio with character, features, and one of the most recognizable digital designs in the lineup, this one is incredibly hard to overlook. And now, number 1, the Casio G-Shock GA-2100. This is the watch that took the traditional G-Shock identity and pushed it into a much more modern direction. The first thing you notice is the octagonal case. It's instantly recognizable. The design is tough without looking overly bulky, and the combination of analog hands with a digital display gives it a very different personality from the other 4 watches on this list. It's the kind of watch that can move between completely different environments: streetwear, everyday casual, outdoor activities, modern city life. It simply fits, and perhaps that's the biggest reason it takes the #1 spot here. The F-91W is iconic because of its simplicity. The AE-1500WH stands out because of its huge display. The MDV-106 brings classic dive watch styling. The AE-1200 feels like a tiny travel computer. But the GA-2100 brings together rugged G-Shock DNA with a much more contemporary silhouette. For this particular countdown, that's what makes it our #1. So, which one should you choose? If you want something simple and timeless, go with the F-91W. Want a huge digital display? The AE-1500WH. Prefer traditional sports watch styling? The MDV-106. Want maximum retro tech personality? The AE-1200. And if you want the most modern and versatile design of the 5, our pick is the G-Shock GA-2100. But honestly, there's no wrong answer here. These 5 watches show exactly why Casio remains so interesting. You don't need to spend thousands of dollars to wear something with personality. Which one would you choose?